On the 13th of September 2005, something unexpected came to the world of Warcraft. Tucked away in the northeastern corner of Stranglethorn Vale, the ruined city of Zul'Gurub had been untouched and largely unexplored for years, but that was not to last.
I cannot wait for ZG to come out, man. I cannot fucking wait. It's gonna be so good. It's gonna be fucking amazing.
Welcome to the complete history of World of Warcraft's first ever special episode, the Gurabashi Blood Plague. This series is supported by our patrons who get episodes 1 week early, with patch 1.7 Rise of the Blood God being live there now, as well as BTS, additional features, early access to other content, and physical rewards, with this month's bundle being particularly
Is this volume
large.
better? Sorry.
A massive thank you to them for making this content possible, and let's get into the video. A group of fanatical troll priests, known as the Atali, had resurrected their ancient and bloodthirsty god, Hakkar the Soul Flayer. A band of would-be adventurers set out to slay the manifestation of the blood god, and after having fought their way through his minions and uncovering the secrets of the ancient city, they came face to face with the troll god himself, Hakkar. Hakkar, being cunning, began to siphon blood from the adventurers in an attempt to heal himself. The adventurers, however,
I soloed this boss, just want to let you guys know, back at level 80. I was so proud of myself whenever it fucking happened. Like, I literally had, this is back in vanilla WoW, I got my mom to sit behind me with my old video camera and video record me killing Hakkar for the first time. Like, I still have the tape somewhere downstairs.
used this against him, voluntarily corrupting their own blood in order to weaken the blood god. This, of course, came at a cost. The corrupted blood put a massive debuff on the adventurers, inflicting 250 to 300 damage every 2 seconds. But worse still, it was highly contagious and, as we would soon find out, far more contagious than any pathogen seen thus far on Azeroth. Luckily for them, it could be cleansed, and the adventurers were sure that it would not follow them beyond the walls of the ancient city. But one hunter's pet, who we shall hereafter refer to as Patient Zero, was not cleansed. And fearing for their pet's life, the hunter dismissed it, thinking that he could summon it back at the stable and so save the pet. Further, the development team did not take Patient Zero into consideration when making sure that the Blood Plague could not follow adventurers out of Zul'Gurub. So, laden with artifacts and materials for their professions, the adventurers hearthed back to the capital cities, unaware of the deadly contagion pumping through the veins of Patient Zero, who, when retrieved from the stablemaster, immediately infected everyone within their vicinity. Worse still, those who were unfortunate enough to be infected almost immediately spread the plague even further. A single hunter's pet turned into a global pandemic. The first thing people would have noticed was blood bursting from their character, then their eyes would quickly flick up to their debuffs, and then their jaws would drop as the full reality of the damage over time effect was realized. The response from Blizzard was not immediate or coordinated, so through necessity, players had to look after themselves.
Yeah, exactly, Haskor. This is why you vaccinate your kids, guys. This is exactly why. Is you don't want to have the blood plague happening at Walmart.
At first, people flocked to the capital cities to witness this novel event, jumping around, laughing, asking questions. It was the low-level players, though, who felt it first, as if you were under level 30 or were lacking in stamina, the plague would burn through your system in a matter of seconds. This curiosity helped to spread the plague through everyone in the city. High-level healers, feeling some sense of duty to their fellow adventurers, were the first responders in this situation. They organized groups to go into the cities and see if anything could be done to stem the flow of the infection, but it was slowly recognized that a more efficient manner of disease control was
I didn't know there was so much footage of
this. These healers set up triage centers at the city gates, working in shifts to cleanse whoever arrived seeking help. Being low level did not preclude you from helping, though, with players setting up quarantines.
Why didn't they just spread out? Like, I never understood this. I never did. I remember back in the day, I was like, because I knew how the buff worked. I was like, just move away. They tried. They'll just move away. I mean, like, they're all gonna die. Like, I feel like if this happened in the new game, it would never happen because people would just know. Okay, just move away from him. Right? Click on the debuff. Okay, all right, get away. I don't know. I'd like to see. I kind of would like to see Blizzard re-implement this just to see what would happen.
Using their characters as visible barriers and the yell function as a warning for anyone smart enough to take it. These efforts were initially successful, and it was felt that with time and effort, the plague would stop. But oh, how wrong they were, for you see, non-player characters in the cities, they could contract the plague, but the damage over time effect would do nothing to them. These NPCs became asymptomatic carriers of the plague, and it became so...
I like how he's using it. I feel like I'm listening to a fucking zombie movie. Like, I really do. I feel like I'm listening to a fucking zombie movie about, like, oh, well, you know, this is patient zero and the plague and everything. Like, it's kind of funny.
Widespread that players were finally forced to abandon their cities, the streets now littered with the bones of the dead. Players fled to towns further afield,
Look at
taking
the
up
script for
residence
this
in
video,
Lakeshire
too.
or the Crossroads.
It's so intense.
But the plague followed. Next, they sought refuge in Booty Bay or Gadgetzan. The plague followed the great mass of players, branching further into Azeroth so that people increasingly needed to find secluded locations, with some electing to wander out into the wilderness whilst the plague burnt itself out. Communities were indeed formed in the middle of nowhere, with some groups electing to dungeon grind whilst the fix was being worked on.
This is so good, dude. It's like, what was it? The beginning of, 28 weeks later or something? I remember watching this, and they're sitting out there in an open fucking house, and there's, you know, nobody else around them, trying to just wait it out and, you know, let everybody else die in the cities, and then they'll come back in a few years or something. Like, this is fucking perfect. 28 days, I think it was 28 weeks later. I don't know.
Stage, everyone was increasingly wary of strangers, and this sense of paranoia was about to be made so much more keen due to the behavior of some players.
Oh boy. Here you go.
The community response to this wasn't exactly cohesive, nor was it uniformly moral. As I was saying, hunter pets, and warlock pets as well, were the main avenue of plague transmission.
So now they're trying to go out and kill people.
Blizzard were just not aware of why this was happening, how it was spreading.
Yeah.
Not at least until the trolling began, because certain hunters and warlocks would intentionally have their pets contract the plague. They would then dismiss their pet, so that the pet would exist in a state of limbo.
You know what I think they should do? Is they should do social experiments with WoW. And what I mean by that is, like, just occasionally spawn in like a weird plague like this or something like this, just to completely throw people off, and like, or spawn in a giant chest where it's like, if you, I don't know, like, just create like these really weird situations. I don't know, maybe this is like just like a sick thing to do, but let me think. Give one guy $1 million gold and then watch what happens. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I think that'd be interesting. Yeah, a giant chest. Yeah, test subjects. I'll have to actually think about this, because I feel like we could come up with a number of like really good experiments that Blizzard could use the players in WoW for as guinea pigs to basically, and this would be really good for the Illuminati. Because like the Illuminati needs to have a testing grounds for their new ways of world domination. So what they could do is they could have like these different worlds inside of WoW, right? Like, so what happens if they microchip everybody in the world, right? And then create some sort of a microchip thing in the game that simulates that, and then report that back to George Soros in a couple of months and see how it goes. I think this is a really great idea.
Ready to be reactivated upon the resummoning of the pet. And once one of these hunters heard about a community of the unaffected living out in the wilds in their commune, they would run to their location and, being careful not to be noticed until the very last second, where they would of course unleash their pet.
Just drop that motherfucker in there, dude.
Marking the doom
Look at
of
that
group. And if
what
that
a piece of
enclave
shit
had NPCs within it, well,
what
the
a
area
piece
would
of
be
shit.
considered infected for several hours afterwards.
Yep.
This process continued, so that between day 2 and day 7, during the height of the plague, nobody could feel safe in Azeroth. This issue was so divisive that it split the community in half. Those who wanted to use their time and effort in the pursuit of actually ending the plague, and then those who simply just found it to be too much fun to spread it across the entire world, leaving destruction in their wake.
Blizzard's response.
To best understand Blizzard's response and the fundamental problems they had in getting a handle on this, I think it's best to look at a brief timeline of events. So, September 13th, 2005, Blizzard releases patch 1.7 to World of Warcraft, introducing the Zul'Gurub raid. On the 13th through 16th of September, the plague begins to spread on Archimonde US. On the 16th of September, a forum post highlighting the spread of the plague on Gorgonash appeared, with several other servers suffering to varying extents. It was not until the 16th that Blizzard announced they were aware of the problem and had planned rolling restarts in that evening that would fix the problem. But as they would find out later on, the attempted fix did not have the desired effect. On September 17th, Blizzard posted in the official forums about the failure of their hotfix. It appears that the hotfix remedy concocted to combat the recent Azerothian outbreak has not yielded desired results. At this time, our medical staff is continuing to develop an effective cure. We look forward to ensuring the health and vitality of the citizens of Azeroth in the near future. They had tried to ensure, you see, that the plague would not spread.
Wait, was that Sarek? I didn't even notice that.
We look forward to...
Wait, that was Sarek! That's the guy they fired because he went fucking crazy. Yo, I didn't even pick up on that, guys. Holy shit.
Ensuring the health and vitality of the citizens of Azeroth in the near future. They had tried to ensure, you see, that the plague would not spread outside of the raid by making sure that no player character could have left Zul'Gurub with the plague. This, of course, did not work, meaning that it was only at this point that they came to realize what Patient Zero truly was. In an interview, lead engineer Colin Murray explained, even once we figured out what was going on, it made it really, really hard to fix. Johnny Cash then added, our choices were either to go through every pet, in every server, in every country, in the entire world, and check if it had corrupted blood and get rid of it, or get really hacky code where every time you summoned a pet, it would check to see if it had corrupted blood on it and get rid of it. This hacky code was indeed implemented, and the plague was largely cleared up by the 20th of September, a whole 7 days later. It wasn't until the 10th of October, more than a month on, that Blizzard released patch 1.8 to World of Warcraft, which included, amongst other things, a line that read, fixed a bug that would allow Hakkar's corrupted blood ability to target pets. A fairly straightforward solution to an absolutely world-shattering event, one that went on...
I like seeing the old fucking community website, man. I used to be on this website all the time. Like, you'd have all the little fucking things on the side, the PvP rankings, like just everything, dude. It's just so good.
To become, in the player's imagination, the first world event. Indeed, Blizzard's chief of staff, Shane DeBerry, went on to say, if that had never happened, we would never have had the wherewithal to create some of the cool events we have now. It was a good part of our history.
So they died for a good cause.
It gave a lot of learning to the design teams of things they could do
how much
in
you
the
buying Quell
future
for?
that were more appropriately implemented. So as you can see, the ramifications...
For what?
How much you buying Quell Survivor for?
I don't know yet. I haven't talked to the guy. Why?
I just got the book.
What the fuck? Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Congrats, dude.
Yeah, I kind of freaked out.
I bet, man. Yo, congrats.
The mage is trying to ninja from me, but my paladin bopped him.
Wow. That's good. That's perfect,
on the ground, so.
Oh my god. Was it just one of the red ones?
Yeah, on the red ones by the elf girl in East.
Oh my god, dude. Wow.
Oh my lord. I fucking freaked out.
So you're saved to Onyxia too, right?
We do Oni on Saturday. On our group.
So you're able to get it right now?
Yeah, I'll get it on Saturday.
Fucking congrats, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is so good. I don't know how I'm gonna buy mine. I guess I've got. How many books did you open?
I've been doing it pretty much all day yesterday, and honestly, maybe 10 books on the ground. Really didn't farm too much, let's be honest.
Here's a better question. Why aren't you going to give it to Asmon?
Because fuck him.
of this plague actually would stretch far into the future of the game.
Real-world consequences.
One of the most fascinating aspects of this is that the plague expanded past Azeroth. Indeed, it went on to have many real-world ramifications as, well, epidemiologists were using the Blood Plague as a case study on how humans would react to a real epidemic. Of course, it's hard to ensure the veracity of the dataset, as the consequences on Azeroth are quite a bit less severe than with a real contagion, but it was still felt that useful information could be extrapolated from the Blood Plague. As in reality, it is not only immoral, but, well, incredibly difficult to recreate an epidemic of this scale, and indeed one with such a defined dataset as with what you get with an online game. It was hard to deny that there were authentic human responses in the ways that players attempted to stem the tide of the plague. Remember, these are responses that were largely born out of self-interest. A few examples of this can be seen in the way that the Blood Plague, say, interrupted the natural flow of raid progression, or essential leveling areas being basically unusable and shut down, and the simple fact that some players' friends were finding the game unplayable. This meant that the plague still—
My mom said that she would quit the game if the zombie invasion event went on, like, longer than she had wanted it to. Like, she had had enough of the zombie invasion event. Like, that was her fucking, that was it. She had had it up to here with the zombie invasion event. Casual? Yeah, she's very casual about that, right? Is your mom 60 yet? No, I don't think so. Authentic, whenever I get the plague, I'll sweat it at Walmart. Yeah, there you go, man. Do everybody a favor.
Still had real stakes, even if it wasn't actual life or death, really, as long as the scientists and epidemiologists were, you know, reflexively aware of the failings of the data and those points, they could still derive practical knowledge from it. Ultimately, the Blood Plague reflected so many facets of an epidemic, from it being accidental, it's not being understood for a long time, and the ways in which players attempted to mitigate its effects, that it was deemed worthy of legitimate study, and real learnings actually did come from it. So to wrap this all up, the Blood Plague was a spontaneous event that would have been impossible to imagine before it actually happened, but in retrospect, it almost feels inevitable that a game as large as World of Warcraft would have had something like this happen. It seems obvious even when taking into account the broad and structural changes that Blizzard were making with each and every patch, that something completely beyond the developers' control, recognition, or imagination could—
I think that's the best part about it, is the developers literally just couldn't get this shit under control. Like, even though they had, like, you know, they're developers, they still couldn't figure out, like, what to do with it. It's kind of like, you know, in the zombie movies, remember the government tries to go in and quarantine the zombies, and the zombies get out, and then, you know, then the people that are quarantining them turn into zombies, and they bring in the military, and then it's a big fucking thing. Yeah, it's an actual pandemic. Yeah, exactly. It's fucking awesome.
Have taken place. It is also striking that initially, the player's response was the only bulwark against the plague, and the plague itself emerged from the game's mechanics, and in the absence of official support, players fought it back with game mechanics. A truly unique, memorable, and special occasion in the World of Warcraft, one that I think rightly lives on in the memory of many. So that is it for this, the first special episode of the complete history of World of Warcraft. I think one of my favorites. This is just such a unique part in, really, it's such a unique part in the history of the game, and how it truly was a virtual world, one even deemed worthy of study, like, for actual human responses.
Yeah, because that's what's cool about online games.
I imagine it was an immensely stressful, but also gratifying and special moment to the people who had made this game, really seeing their virtual world actually be studied as if it was a real one. So, thank you very much for watching this video, and with that, I will see you next time.